Welcome back to Black Talk Today, and I'm your host, Troy. This is podcast 33. Got a lot to get into today in this particular podcast, a lot of news that's been going on in the real world. Hope everybody's locked in and ready to get into this podcast on this Friday, May 28th, going into June. Memorial Day is Monday. Most folks got the day off. I got to work. And I'm a bit bummed out by that, but it is what it is. You gotta do what you gotta do to pay the bills, and so be life, many say. And those that get the opportunity to spend Memorial Day with their family and their loved ones, while I am a bit jealous, I am happy for you. We're getting some normalcy back to our lives, hopefully at some point in time in the Massachusetts area, in the New England area, just in general. They're more than likely than not going to be lifting the mask mandate. You will no longer be mandated to have to wear a mask out in the general public. And that is a great thing. It's an exciting thing. It's a thing that, for the most part, I've been a bit annoyed by. Every time you go anywhere, at least for me, I forget to wear the damn mask. Going to pump gas. I've become accustomed to now just paying for my gas at the gas pump. And normally I don't like to use my debit card at the gas pump because for whatever reason in my psychotic mind, I call it, I think at every gas pump, when you go and you insert your debit card, there's some kind of hacker or somebody put a chip reader on that particular debit card reader, and someone's going to take all of my information and be able to use my debit card and have access to my bank account. So I just hate using the pump at the actual gas station to pay for my gas at the pump. I'd rather just go inside and pay for the gas, but I've been accustomed to that now because there's been times where I'll be halfway into the actual gas station store to pay for the gas. And whether it's a customer or whether it's the clerk at the register reminds me, sir, you need to wear your mask. And it's one of the most annoying things that get on my goddamn nerves. Because it's like, come on, bro. Let me cover my mouth or cover my nose, my complete face with my shirt. But don't deny me my gas. Don't deny me that experience to pump gas so I can get on my way. But been several times I've been denied just for that particular reason of forgetting to wear my mask. And I'm so glad now it's coming to an end. And it's not going to be mandated by the state anymore. They were fining people at one point in time here. I believe $100 each time you were seen or, cited for not wearing your mask out in public. And I understand. But now folks are vaccinated. Well, not everybody. But there are a larger quantity of people that are vaccinated than not now. And, now we're coming into the great weather season, which is summer. And look, folks want to be out and about. Holiday seasons are coming on. No one's going to be cooped up in the house for this summer like last summer. People need to strut their stuff. I know I've been going hard and heavy in the gym. If you've been following me on YouTube, you can follow me at Black Talk Today. You can also follow me at Black Talk Today Podcast, which is my podcast channel. But I've put up some, workout videos on Black Talk Today on YouTube where, you can see me working out and stuff like that. And it's something that I've been just started doing. I got a playlist set up for that now, and I kind of enjoy it. I kind of was one of those people that was like, oh, I'm not going to put up me working out. That's my personal time. That's something that I do. And then I realized, like, dude, you need to be more transparent. You need to be more human. You need to allow people to be able to see you and bask in your normal essence of day-to-day life. And working out is something that I do every other day. I like the bench press. I actually like to run on the treadmill now. There was one point in time where I hated running on the treadmill. But now it's something that I really look forward to doing now when I go to the gym. So I'm not so much mad or it's an issue for me anymore. No longer an issue for me anymore. And I'm actually conquering a lot of my fears. because I had a fear that I would fall while I'm running on the treadmill. And even though it hasn't happened yet, and it still can, I feel like I'm conquering it slowly but surely. See, there you go. I'll let you in on something that you guys might have didn't know. But see, that's just how I am. Like, I'm not this perfect person. No one's perfect, and I don't claim to be. I don't have to be. And I think the more people come into that understanding that, hey, life is short, just be you. People will accept you for you. The people that need to gravitate towards you will gravitate towards you. And now I realize that more than ever that that's 100% truth. And I'm embracing that with all my glory. But in podcast 34, I did a podcast where I talked about, the bribing of individual states to basically incentivize citizens to get the COVID-19 vaccination shots. And I thought it felt like it was bribery. Some states, they allowed, folks to possibly win up until $1 million if you've been vaccinated. And some states, you'll get a portion of your college paid for. Some states you'll, receive like $100 depending on the state. It varies. And I was wondering, like, why would the government allow that to be a thing? And I didn't know that on YouTube, they could censor you whenever you mention COVID-19. And, if it's not informative and it's not what they're reporting as far as what the CDC is reporting and it's in contradiction, or even if you're just giving your personal opinion about it, you can't do that. They will block your video like they did mine. And I was a bit surprised by that. And I was like, well, wait, what happened to my First Amendment rights? Like, how do you get to block me or stop me from saying something about anything? Like, am I not protected? And apparently you're not. At least apparently you're not on YouTube. So YouTube literally took that video down. I was like, well, damn. Y'all didn't even give me no warning. Y'all just took this shit down. And I was like, well, okay, do I need to, appeal this? Or is this just going to be what it's going to be? So I appealed it and they upheld their decision to take my video down. And I was a bit bummed out. But I was like, well, is this a small taste of things to come? I hope not. We already know that the government's trying to do away with our guns. There was just another mass shooting again. And every time there's a mass shooting in the country, they point the finger at law-abiding gun owners, such as myself, Second Amendment gun right activists, such as myself, and they point the finger at us. They say it's because of you guys like you who enjoy this hobby, guys like you who want to buy the AR-15s and buy the semi-automatic handguns with the extended clips. It's you guys who are causing these mass shootings to occur. And I would like to push back just a bit. It's not us. It's not us. It's the criminals. And criminals could be people who were at one point in time law-abiding citizens turned criminal. That's what happens. So making the law as difficult as possible to own guns for gun ownership and enthusiasts is not going to stop mass shootings. See, criminals don't care about your gun laws. Criminals don't care about, what you have on the books and things of that nature. They don't care about any of that. They're going to use what they have at their disposal. And apparently the guy who recently did this last shooting, he had about 10 magazines in his pocket. So more than most likely, he was complying with the law as far as the magazine capacity size, because he probably had a 10-round magazine. Each one of those magazines were only capable of holding 10 rounds. So did the law really circumvent that shooting from actually occurring? No, I don't think so. Even though I think a lot of other people think so, but I don't think so. And again, that's just my personal opinion about the matter. But at the same time, it's unfortunate. But we shouldn't have to be the pariahs whenever there's someone that's shot and killed and gunned down. That's not our fault. And I just want to say that. Stephen A. Smith and Kwame Brown have been having words lately. And people have been coming for Kwame Brown as of recently. And I spoke briefly on another podcast and on one of my videos that I did on Black Talk Today, referencing to, how basically Kwame Brown has been talked about and made fun of and mocked for years by these sports analysts such as Stephen A. Smith. You recently had Steven Jackson go on his podcast and make fun of Kwame Brown as a bus. And this guy hasn't spoken out in years. Kwame Brown hasn't played basketball in years. He played for over 13 seasons in the NBA, so I don't know how he's a bust in that regard. But the man's made about $60 million in his career. So my thing is, would a lot of people like to change places with Kwame Brown and still be a bust and still make it to the NBA to make that kind of money? That's a lot of money to make. And to call somebody a bust and say that they didn't achieve their goal, you don't know what his goal was. And I think a lot of these sports analysts can dish it out but can't take it. A lot of these guys like to say whatever they want to in your face, put mustard on their hamburger and eat it with no cheese. And that's their prerogative to eat it that way. But if I choose to eat mine with, ketchup and cheese and all of the condiments, they then come and judge me. But then I can't judge them back. I can't speak and retaliate with the same kind of remarks or interest or concern back. No, you can't apparently, because there's a narrative that needs to be made the point. And it seems like the narrative is anytime you go against these get along, play along talking heads like Stephen A. Smith, you are then ridiculed. Your license is suspended, or not your license. Your character's defamed. You had Charlemagne the God talking about, Kwame Brown comes from a very angry, violent family. His father was a criminal. Kwame Brown is not mentally in a safe space. And, you can just disparage all kind of ad hominem remarks at a man. And then when that man responds, then you play the victim. And that's what happened here. And I'm not surprised that Kwame Brown has taken the stance that he was taking, because he didn't get the proper opportunity to speak out like he wanted to when he was an NBA player, and especially when he became a full-grown man. And I think to attack somebody over and over again, to say the same thing over and over again, whether you believe it or not, you're drilling that and brainwashing that into people's head about this man. And you don't know if this man is trying to get a deal somewhere. You don't know if this man is trying to do anything else outside of the game of basketball to advance himself and his family, but y'all don't care. And my pushback was, well, why don't these same black analysts give that same kind of energy to white athletes? There's a lot of white athletes that crashed and burned, even though they were number one draft picks. But you don't see these black athletes constantly talking about how they constantly talked about Kwame Brown when he failed to perform up to the hype when he was drafted as a Washington Wizard and played alongside Michael Jordan. I mean, think about the psychological beating and the constant abuse that he received as a high school student yesterday, and then tomorrow now you are an NBA player that's playing with one of the greatest players to ever play the game, possibly the greatest, but also he's a grown man and he's going to trash talk you like you've never been trash talked before. Wouldn't that stunt your game? That would stunt my game. That would make me feel some kind of way. But the man didn't speak up for over 20 years, and now he's speaking out, and now people want to hear, because I think a lot of people carry the same sentiment that Kwame Brown carries. A lot of people feel the very same way that Kwame Brown feels. And they have the right to feel that way. They have the right to say what they want. They have the right to do as they please, especially if you earned that right. He's earned that right. He's played over 10 years, over a decade in the NBA. So how much of a bust was he if he still played in the NBA? And then to see Stephen A. Smith go on a ESPN platform where he has his own show and to put up video after video of Kwame Brown, either dropping a ball, getting dunked on, just showing unfavorable images of him playing basketball to prove his point that he sucks and that he wasn't good, was a very lame thing to do to me. At least that's what I thought. I thought the dude was lame. I thought the dude sucked. I thought the dude would just never be able to show his faith again in public in this essence of how he's going about handling Kwame Brown. Because he still has not rebutted or even addressed any of the remarks that Kwame Brown said about Stephen A. Smith. Is he lying or is he not? But I think Stephen A. Smith likes to go on TV to be cute. He likes to be the only black guy till there's other black people on. Then he kind of calms down, falls back. But then he's so ingratiated with this system here that he's accustomed to the way it's going. And he will do whatever it takes to disparage another black man, it seems. And I don't mind him being called out for it by Kwame Brown. Actually, I would encourage Kwame Brown to continue. But it's just a goddamn shame. Just like it's a goddamn shame what happened to Ronald Greene in Louisiana. I mean, the mass cover-up, what the Louisiana State Police tried to do, in essence of denying his family the truth on how he died, and then also not allowing that body camera footage from those 4 officers that were on the scene, who literally aided and abided, and all of them were complicit in the murder of that young man, and then just toss his body and around like he's a rag dog, and then kill him. And then when he gets to the hospital, the officers didn't have the nerve to tell the doctor there, like, hey, this guy died in a car accident on the scene, so you're going to be getting a dead body. No, he didn't die in a car accident. He died because you guys tortured him and beat him. You guys dragged him. You guys had him laying on his stomach prone for several minutes. And even when he tried to turn over and move, you had an officer get up and step on his back and tell him he doesn't want him to fucking move and for him to stay on his back. I mean, that's one of the most disgusting, egregious things that I've ever seen a police officer do, other than what happened to George Floyd. You're going to tell a man to stay on his back even though he can't breathe, even though he got his hands behind his back because he's handcuffed and he's in police custody at this moment. You guys are choking him, punching him, tasering him. Even when the doctor did the medical examination on Ronald Greene, they found police prongs in his back. Well, if he died in a car accident, how the hell does he get police prongs in his back? Turn the lights on, close the door. Yo, this is not adding up. Oh, okay, so now you have no choice but to release the body camera footage. And once that was released, that sparked outrage against the police department, the state police department in Louisiana, as it should. I mean, you had officers literally beating the shit out of this guy. You had officers bragging about beating him so severely and then saying, I hope this guy doesn't have AIDS, as they're wiping his blood off of their hands and their arms. It was one of the most barbaric things that I've ever seen. But guess who I don't hear talking about that? Stephen A. Smith. But he likes to talk about 18-year-old basketball players who played 18 years ago, who are grown men now, who are addressing him directly, like a grown man's supposed to. But he wants to do some real beta male shit, have an argument with himself, and not have the man that he has a disdain for be able to stand before him and argue with him. That's some beta male shit. Make an argument, create an argument, have an issue, but don't let the person that you have an issue with express themselves and to get their point across in their perspectives and views. That shit is one-sided. That's something a woman would do. But then again, this is the type of society we live in, a society full of beta males. No one's an alpha. No one's real. No one's honest. No one wants to lead. And for me, it just rubs me the wrong way. But I get it. This is the land of the free, home of the brave. Or is this the land of those that have and those that not? We got to make that decision and that differentiation between the two. Because it seems like the more money you have if you're a black man, the more buck dancing and ass breaking you're going to have to do to keep that money. And at some point in time, a smart man told me a long time ago that all money is not good money. So again, I don't know how and why this particular man felt it was a comment behind himself to sit here and go on TV, and he has this huge, massive following and platform of people that support him, clown another black man. You would never talk like that to another white man, let alone go on live TV and talk to another white man. So why do black men feel so comfortable disrespecting other black men in this form of entertainment? That's what I don't get. It's supposed to be more of a unison type experience, a united type experience. But now that I know, I can't even trust other black folks because skin folk don't mean that they kin folk at the end of the day. It's so sad and so unfortunate and disappointing. And now there still hasn't been any charges that's been levied against the officers that killed Ronald Greene. One officer that participated in the arrest of Ronald Greene, he has recently committed suicide. So he took the easy way out. So we still got officers that need to be prosecuted, and it seems like they're going to wait to the full extent of the law, push the full extent of the law to protect these guys, because they've been covering this story up for years now. This Ronald Greene story, an incident occurred 3 years ago. This didn't just occur last week or last month or a year ago. This is a 3-year story, and up until this particular point this month is only when the public got a chance to see the actual body camera footage. From up until that point back, the family did not want to show that. And I find it very disgusting. I find it very sad that this is the America that we live in. This isn't the America that I grew up in. This isn't the America that I love. This is the America that we have been accustomed to accepting, the double standard. Best believe there is a double standard. But it also needs to change. And when does that change? It has to start with us. It has to start with the people. You can't sit there and watch that video of Ronald Greene begging for his life, apologizing to the officers, and they just refuse to stop beating the shit out of this guy. I mean, there was a couple of times that I need to turn my head, especially when you're hearing a grown man cry like this, when you're hearing a grown man plead out and apologize, and they're just not trying to hear it. They're fixated on killing this man. Then what are you supposed to do? Fight them all? It just doesn't make logical sense to me here. We need reform, of course, but we need law enforcement. But cops like this, they need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. They need not to be protected. When you violate someone's civil rights in this nature, when you kill someone and you attempt to cover up the act in which you've done, you need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. You don't get to pass go. You go directly to jail. What's sad is that none of the men that were complicit in the killing of Ronald Greene are in jail yet. None of them have been charged for his murder. But believe it or not, one of the men that participated in his actual murder is going to court now because he assaulted someone else after he assaulted Ronald Greene. So that person that he assaulted and they survived the course, they can then come back for a civil lawsuit and say, hey, look, you guys knew that this guy had the propensity to do this. You guys knew that this guy has done this before, and yet and still you gave him back his badge, gave him back his gun. They suspended this guy for 48 hours. For the way that they handled Ronald Greene, they suspended one of these officers for 48 hours and then told him to come back and get back on the job. I mean, what kind of policing is this? I mean, what kind of democracy is this we living in? I don't see anything fair about that. It's disgusting. It's disgusting, just as disgusting as Charlemagne pleading out to a lesser charge of raping Jessica Reed. At this point in time, if you're a person that cares about women, great. Then you can more likely than not show empathy and can understand where this young, well, she's no longer a young woman. She's 30. She's in her 30s now. But when she was 15, when this incident occurred between her and Charlamagne, you can understand that psychologically you won't heal from that necessarily. And she shared that she's been dealing with this her entire life after that incident occurred. And now this man gets to go and plead to a lesser charge. And we still get to listen to him on a nationally syndicated radio. I wouldn't want to listen to a pervert. I wouldn't want to listen to a rapist, if you ask me. This is the same man that went on the radio show and complained about DJ Envy. Excuse me. This is the same man that went on a radio show and complained about R. Kelly being a rapist, R. Kelly sleeping with young underage girls, and making a big stink about it, how he doesn't like it. How R. Kelly needed to be castrated, because he also made a statement saying that anyone that commits rape or commits any kind of pedophilia acts against children need to be chemically castrated. Well, should he be chemically castrated? Because he was 22 going on 23 and Jessica Reed was 15 years old. And no one even raised the red flag. Why is a 22-year-old man bringing a 15-year-old girl to a party with him, knowing it's predominantly male? She's going to be around you and nothing but your male friends, and you're serving her alcohol. Like, what 22-year-old man think that that's a responsible thing to do? That's a man that's looking to take advantage of a young woman that he knows. And he knew that if he can get her intoxicated enough, not only he, but also his friends can then also take advantage of her as well. And that's exactly what occurred. And I just kind of find it quite disgusting that because people get so enamored and in awe with people that you love and that you admire and that you adore, and because they're entertainers and they have household names, people are willing and able to overlook the acts and the things that they do. A rapist is a rapist. A pedophilia is a pedophilia. Period. There's no change in who they are. This is who they are. They might be able to mask it. They might be able to make millions of dollars like Charlamagne, but you are who you are. That doesn't just get to go away. This is the same man that would go on TV, same man that would go on podcasts, the same man that would go on his Power 100.5 radio talk show and talk about how he has drugged women, giving them Spanish fly, then slept with them without knowing them, without knowing if they've gotten consent, without them being consciously present, and that they were inebriated and passed out. And he would admit and chuckle and joke about that kind of shit. And that wasn't a red flag being waved to anybody. That wasn't a red flag right there. This is the very same man that has kids now. The very same man that's married. I wonder if his wife was to find out that, yeah, he did have sex with Jessica Reed and, he wasn't able to plead out to a lesser charge. Would she still stand by his side if he had to go to court and fight this? I mean, I thought it was protect black women. I thought black women were supposed to protect black women. Even his show host, Angela Yee, who's half Asian and half black, she doesn't say anything in regard to this matter as well. So it just goes to tell me that in all reality, are we just saying things just to say things because it's the PC thing to say? Angela Yee doesn't have an opinion about anything. Whatever direction the crowd is going in today, that's the direction Angela Yee's going in today. DJ Envy is the only other male that's on that particular show, Power 105.1, and he has multiple daughters. He's married, but yet and still he won't say anything to Charlamagne. But he was another cat that was willing to voice his opinions and his concerns about R. Kelly and everything R. Kelly did and how he's a pedophile and how, he's going to get what he's deserved. I mean, But yet you won't say anything about your man that goes on a radio talk show every day with you every day, knowing the allegations that have been levied against him, knowing that he pleaded out to a lesser charge of rape, knowing that he talks about raping women and drugging them and then sleeping with them. Hell, the man even admitted that he even had sex with his wife against her will, or without her even knowing, because she was intoxicated or passed out. And then goes on the radio and asks his two co-hosts, one being a man, one being a woman, well, did I rape my wife? Did I rape my wife? Is this what you asking on a live radio show? Did you rape your wife? I can't get behind a lot of the things that goes on today in our society. This is a sick world. Sick people in it. It's sick people in it. You gotta call people out for who they are. Whether it's a family member, and I know it's easier said than done, but when someone's harming someone to this degree, men, as men, we're supposed to protect women. Right? They're not supposed to be afraid of us. We know that they're more vulnerable than us in every way, shape, or form. They're not helpless, but they're vulnerable still. And when someone takes advantage of them, especially when a man does it, we got to stand with them. No, what's sad is that, especially in the black community, we don't take these kind of incidents as serious. Because you still got black folks over there supporting Charlamagne the God. You got folks still denying anything that Jessica Reed is saying, not realizing that this incident occurred 17 years ago. She said herself that she's not looking for money. So you got to understand that this isn't some groupie or some thought that he just met at a club and now she's just trying to come up and make a couple of dollars because she's broke, or for someone else that's a celebrity and use their name and drag it through the mud and hold them for ransom. That's never what she's been trying to do. Her mother even gave an interview speaking about why she didn't initially allow her daughter to press charges, because she didn't want her daughter to go through that experience at 15 on facing her rapist. That could be a very traumatizing experience for any woman. So I could understand why her mother 17 years ago didn't want her 15-year-old daughter to have to go to court after court after court hearing and to testify against someone that raped her. That can be the same experience all over again, being re-raped again. I just think at the end of the day, man, people are sick, and it'd be the most affluent. It'd be the most liked people. It'd be the people that you don't think anything of that would be any other way than other than a degenerate. And that's how we got to start looking at people. Instead of giving them the benefit of the doubt, don't give them anything. Let them prove themselves. Prove yourself. At the end of the day. So I think Kwame Brown had every right to bring up what Charlamagne did to Jessica Reed, because Charlamagne the God brought up Kwame Brown's father in his rap history. So why can't he bring up who you are? I think it was a very smart move by Kwame Brown and what he did. And I salute the brother. I know society is not used to hearing a grown man talk like that. Y'all used to beta males. Y'all used to men that cower to women, that, you know, that placate everything in the favor of women, that don't mind being the second-rate citizen, that doesn't mind, you know, falling back and just being told what to do by a woman. That's not who Kwame Brown is, and that's never been who I am. Never been. There's a balance to everything. And I think in the black community, we are very imbalanced right now. We're not balanced right now as a people. Logically, from a logical perspective, we're not balanced at all. Also, I'd also would like to address simping in 2021. There's a lot of simping going on in 2021. And I want to give a shout out to Malik Beasley, 24 years old. He was simping at one point in time with Larsa Pippen, Scottie Pippen, former ex-wife, baby mama of 20 years. And my thing is, when it comes to Larsa Pippen, I look at Larsa and I'm like, I don't see what guys see in her to want to even wife or even want to leave your family for to be with. Because that's what Malik Beasley did. Malik Beasley left his wife, who just had a baby for him. And by the way, his wife is gorgeous. Better looking than Larsa Pippen. Larsa Pippen's like 50 years old. Like, you over the hill. But she still apparently is able to pull a 24-year-old man. And I guess that's what she's been going for. She wants a young man. But anyway, let me digress. Malik Beasley left his wife, who just gave a baby for him, to go be with Larsa Pippen. And then the whole shit backfired. Larsa Pippen went on the gram talking about how she dumped Malik Beasley, how he was always crying all the time, how he was weak, he was no good, yada, 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 etc. But this is the very same woman that was with Future, the rapper. He even made a song referencing to her that he don't fuck the woman in his Gucci flip-flops. And I just think this shit is just getting out of hand. But then again, I might be the only one that feel like this shit is getting out of hand. But she's feeling like she can pull a 24-year-old man, and she did. She pulled him. But she dumped him. And then Malik Beasley went crawling back to his baby mama who had the baby for him, talking about how he was tripping. It was, he was looking for something that wasn't there. She's always been the one for him. Well, yeah, you want to take your baby, your wife back now because you just been let go by Larsa Pippen. And Larsa Pippen don't look like anybody. I mean, it looked like she can just give you a good time one night. I mean, she got them big ass fake titties, plastic surgery titties, plastic surgery face. I mean, she got a whole Hollywood fake body, it looks like. And maybe that's why Scottie Pippen left her. Or maybe she just didn't want to be with Scottie, or she was just, she doesn't seem like a really good person. But at any rate, I digress. Not only did she go on Instagram and out Malik Beasley and explain to the entire world that, hey, he was in her DM box pursuing her profusely while his wife just gave birth, so he was looking for some new ass. But he was also a crier. He was also cheap. And apparently when he left his wife for the first time, he didn't leave them with any kind of money. Nothing. Left them high and dry. And she was like, well, hey, if he can do his wife like that has recently given birth for him and given him a child, then he can do me like that. So she backed away from him and got away from him, and eventually, everything went back to normal. But it just goes to show that at 24 years old, fellas are making lifetime decisions and choices to leave what they have at home to be with a whole Instagram thot. I mean, Larsa Pippen even put out a post stating that, hey, to Malik Beasley's wife, like, hey, you can have your man back. I don't want him. He ain't shit. But also, follow me on my OnlyFans. Larsa Pippen, 47 years old. You was married to Scottie Pippen, Hall of Famer, 6-time NBA champion. He played with Michael Jordan. Scottie has some money, but then Scottie probably broke now. And that's probably why she left me. She's like, this broke motherfucker ain't got no more M's, so let me get on. But that wasn't a good enough life for her. She's now out here prostituting herself for clout, and then claim that a 24-year-old man is using her for clout. But who's checking for Larsa Pippen? No one's checking for Larsa Pippen. What clout could you get off of Larsa Pippen other than she got some big-ass fake titties and she used to be married to Scottie Pippen? Like, no one cares about that. No one even cares about Scottie Pippen. No one cares about Larsa Pippen. But I want black men to know that, yo, don't simp and waste your money, especially when you got a family at home. Invest in your family. You and your girl crying, y'all singing the blues, go to therapy before you decide to step out and leave your foundation. And your foundation, without a doubt, is your home, especially when you have kids. Your home is your foundation. Not seeking to be in the arms of a thought. Who the hell want to be in the arms of a whole Instagram thought or back page or they don't have back page anymore. FBI crack down on that shit. OnlyFans page. I mean, hell, I was even thinking about starting an OnlyFans. I don't know if I make any damn money though. I don't look like Tyson Bedford or Brad Pitt, so I don't know. Nobody probably subscribed to my shit. But I'll put my podcast over there. If y'all like for it to be over there too, let me know. Leave a comment or something. Shit. I'll put the podcast over there. I've been trying to hit Powerball too. Shit. Y'all ain't even know that. I've been trying to hit Powerball like a motherfucker lately. And I said it before, I say it again. I'm going to stay by my word. If I hit Powerball, I will be going through Instagram to find a massage therapist, and they will not be giving me massages. I mean, I'm not going to be on some Deshaun Watson type shit where I'm raping them. Allegedly. I said that allegedly. But we're going to have some adult activity, and it's not going to be against their will. But I'm going to be breaking them off. And I'll be breaking them off, and I'll be breaking them down. So she'll be getting what she wants, and I'll be getting what I want, and it'll be an equal exchange. And we'll do it again Friday at 3. But see, those are like champagne dreams, though. I got to hit Powerball first. So the likelihood of me hitting Powerball is slim because I'm not black. Well, because I'm black, and I'm not Hispanic, and I'm not normally, well, I'm not white either. I'm not white, and I'm not middle-aged white. So you got to be kind of like middle-aged white to hit Powerball. You got to be senior citizen Hispanic female to hit Powerball, I believe. So, that's kind of just been the odds. So I don't fit them odds. So hopefully, shit is swing in my favor one day. Even if it's just one time they let a brother like me hit. I'm still doing YouTube, though. I'm not going to abandon y'all. Y'all come right along with me in a new house, new cars, a new life. I'll fly a couple of y'all out. Only women, though. I'm joking. Y'all need to laugh, goddammit. People need to laugh. People need laughs in their life. You need laughs in the world. You got the Israelis fighting the Palestinians right now, and the Israelis trying to annihilate the Palestinians, and America's over here like, well, Palestine, those are our friends. And normally we would jump in if somebody's getting obliterated, but we do support Israel. So y'all just hang in there. That's literally what America's doing. America's like, look, we not intervening into nothing. But if the roles were reversed, if Hamas of the Palestinian people were riding down on Israel like this, we'll have to intervene. We'll put some boots on the ground for Israel. That's just my general understanding of how this shit is going. But that's for a whole nother video. I don't want to get too controversial into that, because then you get too controversial into that, people get in their bag, get in their feelings. And I don't necessarily want to deal with nobody in their bag and in their feelings. But I also want to speak about the anti-Semitic hate crimes that's on the rise here in America. It's very important that I do, because I've been very vocal about anti-crimes against all groups, whether it's black people, whether it's Asians, whites, whatever group you choose to, identify as. If the statistics show that there's a rise in the crimes against your group, I'm going to speak out against it. And since the war been going on between the Israelis and the Palestinian people, there's been some people choosing sides. But there's also been people getting attacked in the streets, particularly Jewish people. People of that particular faith are getting attacked by, some Middle Eastern folks here. They're not going for it here. And I would like to say, again, before we attack anybody for anything that's said or done, think. Use your common sense. You have a lot more to lose than the Hamas and the Israeli, people care about. They don't care about you. They don't even know you. They're not even identifying with you. You are an American. And while you may be a Palestinian or you may be an Israeli, you're still a black. And you're still American. And at the end of the day, what's going on in the East, you can't let that affect you here in the West. So let's start with the Semitic crimes and things of that nature. I see that there's been a decrease of anti-Asian crimes and attacks in America, so that's great. I don't know why folks would have an issue with any group, any particular group, at the end of the day. Like, you can't judge an entire group of people by a few individuals who you've had contact with. That just doesn't make sense at all. And I'm not like that. But I also want to send my concern out to the Jewish communities here in America. Let them know that I do acknowledge you, I do see you, and whatever I can do, I will do. But the tax against that particular demographic of people needs to come to an end. And I fundamentally mean that with my entire heart. We need to protect each other. We need to protect, the quality of life that we have here in America. We already know that they're trying to take away our guns here in this country. Joe Biden, what are you doing? Because when you take away our guns and the government is the only people that have the guns, well, then how do you stop the bad guys? The bad guys are the people that are doing the crime. The criminals are the one that's doing the crime, not the law-abiding citizens. Again, I went on Instagram and I also went on Facebook yesterday in a group, in the chat group, discussing the possible ban of particular weaponry and weapons. And it felt good to be around a community of people that feel the way that you feel and that are like-minded. And I just think that we need to just reapproach a lot of things with a different lens and a different understanding and get the full totality of information in regard to whatever's occurring. Because, we can't just react and be reactive to situations that we can't control and just act off anger, at the end of the day. So I wanted to say that. I knew I was kind of long-winded right there. For whatever reason, I was long-winded. Very, very long-winded. But again, where is the code that black men should be on here in America? Or is there even a code that black men adhere to here in America to other black men? Is there any allegiance? Or should black men have any allegiance to other black men here in America? And you might say, well, that's a very peculiar question to ask. And the reason I ask that question, because, again, Kwame Brown, I don't see the reason why some folks wouldn't like him, maybe because he swears a bit. But once you get past the swearing, the guy makes very logical, sound sense. And I respect the guy. I really appreciate the energy and the vibe that he brings to the entertainment business. I believe he should have his own podcast. I think he should have a show somewhere. Somebody should scoop him up because the guy's very much entertaining. But beyond the entertainment and past the entertainment, the guy drops a lot of facts and jewels. And he said something to me that resonated with me last week. And he was speaking on the fact that, they have a lot of black talking heads in the sports industry that talk sports. Some of them are former sports players or athletes. Some of them are just, regular, everyday Jane journalists. And they get the opportunity to get a platform and to get a microphone to share their opinions and thoughts, because that's all it is, right? Opinions and thoughts when you talk basketball. But the way, again, I'm not trying to be biased here, but the way that they, particularly Stephen A. Smith, with throughout the years, used to tear down Kwame Brown. And mind you, he came in the league 18 years old, bright eye, don't know what's going on, They didn't develop him the way they ought to should have. He was playing with Michael Jordan, who wanted to shoot the ball 40 times. Michael Jordan wrote his back. Other players wrote his back. The industry wrote his back. And they told him, just suck it up and live with it. This is grown man ball. This is basketball. This is what we're paying you for. You were the #1 draft pick. So when the brother fades into the background, into the real world, you would think that, well, it'll just stay there. That's where it ends. It did not end there, because these guys would continuously keep having his name brought up in the butt of their jokes. And it got to the point where he felt like the talking about him enough was enough. And he started to address folks. He addressed it Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, even though he stated, allegedly, that Matt Barnes invited him to his penis to suck his dick. And that's one of the #1 things you never tell a black man to do unless you're ready to get an ass whipping. And maybe he is ready to get an ass whipping. I don't know if Matt Barnes is ready to get an ass whipping, but he's been talking spicy to a grown man who's not playing. And I think at the end of the day, America's not used to seeing a man that's confident, that's assured of himself, because we're literally trying to demasculate all males. We're literally trying to feminize the men in this country. The men can't have voices. The men can't have opinions. Everything is favored and geared towards elevating the women and lowering the man, and then making the man into, a feminine, male figure. And that's not what we need. We need alpha, strong males. Males that are going to take the lead, that's going to do what they need to do and be held accountable for their actions. Not men that are confused, that don't know what they are, whether they're man or woman, and it's playing both sides. I think that we need to really get to the bottom of that. And I think hopefully there's a ribbon in the sky. There's a ribbon in the sky. I'm just saying. Maybe there's a ribbon in the sky where black men see what Stephen A. Smith did the other day to Kwame Brown, to try to demean and tear this brother down again in 2021 by showing clips and highlights of Kwame Brown not being as impressive at basketball as we would have liked to see, to prove his point that, hey, what he was saying about Kwame Brown is right on, is spot on. But what I never seen Stephen A. Smith do is have the very same kind of energy that he has for black athletes when they're not performing up to the contract, when they're not performing up to what the expectations are set of them to be. He doesn't have the same energy for white athletes that don't perform. And I kind of find that very interesting. That made me scratch my head. That made me raise an eyebrow. That made me say, well, hold on here. Well, why is that? Are you being told to, bash black men exclusively and, not so much talk about the white athletes that fail just as much as the black ones do? Because that's the way it's starting to look. I've never seen Adam Morrison, the #1 draft pick who was drafted by the Charlotte Bobcats at the time. He was drafted #1 and he was a bust. He didn't do shit in the NBA. He didn't win shit in the NBA. He's not even in the NBA. But I don't see anyone talking about him. Why isn't he getting that smoke? Kwame Brown hasn't said anything disrespectful to anybody for years. It's only until they started to attack him and his character. Now everybody's the victim now. How does that work? For the life of me, how does that work? Who's setting these rules up? And if you're not going to speak up as vehemently against white folks, then don't speak up against black folks. It's about time that we start calling these guys out that claim to be so great, that claim to be so good as human beings. Well, it's about time we start holding them accountable too, because I'm sure they got skeletons in their closet. Look how they ridiculed Ray Rice, and I'm not making any excuse for anything that Ray Rice did, because what he did was egregious when he struck his then girlfriend, who is now his wife now. But that brother has been blackballed and can never play NFL football again. He was in the prime of his career. And they blackballed him, even though he apologized profusely. You had Chad Wheeler beat the brakes off a black woman less than 6 months ago. Damn near killed a black... He attempted to kill a black woman, Chad Wheeler, the former Seahawks offensive lineman. Then after he damn near thought he killed her, he then went and ate dinner. And she woke up like, oh, this motherfucker eating French fries and a goddamn Subway sandwich. And the first thing that comes out of his mouth is, oh shit, you still alive? And we don't hold him accountable because they didn't even want to run the story on ESPN. Even though the incident occurred on the weekend, Monday came, the only person I initially heard speak about it was Nate Burleson. And then Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless, and even Skip Bayless was kind of wishy-washy about the shit. He didn't want to really speak too much about Chad Wheeler. Stephen A. Smith was very low, monotone in his voice when he was talking about Chad Wheeler. Normally he's turned up, excited, loud, yelling. You got to tell this motherfucker to calm down most of the time when he's talking sports. That motherfucker tone was real low. It's like somebody told him, Stephen, calm the fuck down on this one. It seemed like his handler told him, look, you need to pick and choose. We're going to be choosy today. We're going to choose not to talk about this one. And Stephen A. Smith went right along with it because he spoke very briefly, and that was the last motherfucking thing you heard about that. But let that be a white woman that was beat by a black man like that. Oh, no, he'd have so much to say about, oh, stay off the weed. When my man Gordon, I forget his first name, Jesus Christ. He used to be a wide receiver that played for the Cleveland, Josh Gordon. And he was projected to be like a Hall of Famer with the numbers he put up initially when he came into the league. Josh Gordon was a hell of a wide receiver, but he had a substance abuse problem. He couldn't stay off the weed. He was a avid marijuana cannabis smoker. And so was Ricky Williams, but Ricky Williams is a Heisman Trophy winner. He had a hell of an NFL career, but that's for another video. Josh Gordon was suspended more times than I can count. But that never stopped Stephen A. Smith from saying, you know what, I know the brother got a problem. I know the dude got an addiction. I know he's dealing with psychological issues. But no, you know what he kept doing? Stay off the weed. Why you can't stay off the weed? I don't know how many brothers come from impoverished backgrounds who's looking to throw millions of dollars away because they can't stay off the weed. This is what this man would do every other fucking day. And no one said anything like, yo, get off that man back. That man's going through something. He has a substance abuse problem. What part of that don't you understand? Why do you keep talking about him? Okay, he gets reinstated. He breaks the drug policy again. He gets suspended. That's all you got to do is report it that way. You don't got to elaborate and make it some fucking spectacle that you got to put on a show to show people that you don't do it. So because he's doing it, it's an issue. Again, it tells you a lot about this guy's character. And it's a shame because you're supposed to be building each other up, not tearing each other down. Especially when you're not giving the same energy to other groups of people. It's a double standard, but it's a black double standard that these guys are willing to do. And maybe their palms are greased, maybe they're paid off, maybe someone's giving them the topics to talk about, and the topics that they're choosing to talk about is the ones exclusively about black men, and they're not choosing to talk about the white men because it probably wouldn't be as interesting to talk about. But you can't do that in your position. You have to be fair, but clearly this guy doesn't know what fair is, doesn't want to know. So again, I asked the question, is there a code that we need to stay on? I'm not saying that you can't ridicule my game. I'm not saying that you can't say that, hey, you didn't play well today. You suck today. And here's the reason why. and give me the reason why I suck rather than just saying it over and over and over. You don't know what kind of endorsement deals that this man is dealing with. You don't know what kind of earnings he's trying to earn. But you constantly going on TV with your platform and you the loudest one in the room, so you're going to get the most attention. And you don't know if you probably fucking up this brother's earn over here. But nobody gets to say nothing to these puppets and these get along black men because they get along black men. They just want to get along and get their check. And my thing at the end of the day, I couldn't respect that. Hell no, I can't respect that. Why would I respect that? Why should I respect that? Absolutely not. It's disgusting. At the end of the day, listen, man, you going to talk sports, talk sports. Talk sports. Got no problem with that. But keep it within sports. Because if you're not going to talk about everything outside of the hash marks, outside of the basketball court, outside of the lines about other groups and races of men and women that play the same sport that black people play, well, then don't talk about them. But if you're going to talk sports and you want to keep it within the guidelines of what is pertaining to the sport, do so. I don't care. Do so. Do so. But you got to understand at the end of the day that just as much as you can talk shit about somebody, they have the right to come back and talk shit about you as well. So when that occurs, Charlemagne the God, just like you put out that cease and desist against Kwame Brown because he was exposing all the skeletons that we already knew that were in your closet, but he just brought another spotlight on that shit again, that we knew that you were literally had the propensity to do this shit. Now you want people to stop talking about it. If you're going to stop talking about it. But you go on a goddamn radio show 4 hours out the day and you talk about people's lives and what's going on in their lives, and you don't care about how that shit affects their children, their loved ones, their relatives, their careers, their earnings. You don't give a damn. You don't care. Even if it's a rumor, you're going to sit there and run with it, and it might turn into a rumor that could be catastrophic to that individual that you're talking about. But you don't care about that. That person doesn't care enough to put out a cease and desist. But it shows me that you can take it. You can't take it. You can put it out, but you can't take it. And that's a coward to me. That's what that is to me. So, guys, I'm Troy. This is Black Talk Today. This is podcast 33. Listen, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. It's a growing channel, Black Talk Today podcast. If you listen to this on iTunes and Podbeam, follow me at Black Talk Today and Black Talk Today podcast. Those two channels, you can find me uploading videos. Obviously on my podcast channel, you're going to get the podcast that you're already listening to, the audio to, but you're going to get the visual side of it, so you get to see me talking, which is a beautiful thing, right? I mean, hell, you guys don't mind looking at ugly ass Joe Rogan talk. Y'all can look at me talk. I feel like I look better than Joe Rogan. I'm just joking, right? Joe, I'm just joking. It's jokes. It's jokes. I don't have no beef with Joe Rogan. I would like to do the numbers at some point that Joe Rogan do. But I'll keep you guys in the loophole if I ever get there and do the numbers that Joe Rogan does. But yeah, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. I'm Troy. This is Black Talk Today podcast, signing off. And of course, I'm signing out. And remember, guys, you ever heard of something? It's called the First Amendment.